Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back. Well, today got kind of a little rant. My LiteHawk Challenger has gotten a crack in the hull at no fault of my own, and LiteHawk doesn't want to do a darn thing about it other than say, well, the best we're willing to do is we'll give you a replacement hull for about 45 bucks. You know, of course there's going to be shipping and tax on that too, right? Anyhow, I'm really not in the mood for that. This wasn't my fault. I can see if it was my fault and I broke it. Hey, my bad. I'll go and say, hey, you got a hull? You know, because I asked them once before about hulls, and at the time they didn't have any. And for, you know, just blank hulls I can swap my stuff into. So anyhow, they've offered me a hull, and I'm still debating on it because I can get a fiberglass hull for a couple of bucks more that's the same size, catamaran, you know, and just throw my crap into it and be done. Because fiberglass, at least you can repair when it breaks. Plastic, you really can't do much with it. I mean, I crazy glued this crack. Now, they don't even want to see the pictures of the crack. They're just like, we don't care. We're not going to warranty it. That's all there is to it, pal. And I'm like, yeah, okay, whatever. Now, up until now, let me tell you, LiteHawk has been awesome with me. Anything I've needed, I get it shipped quickly. If it's warranty stuff, I have no issues at all, you know. And it's been great, you know, until my boat. I spend $300 on a boat, something goes wrong, they don't care. And I'm like, excuse me. It doesn't say anywhere in the warranty work for the boat that, you know, if something happens that's not my fault, that they're not going to cover it. You know, it doesn't say that. You know, there's a warranty on the boat, you know, blah, blah, blah. You know, everything should be covered, including defects. Now, as far as I'm concerned, this is a defect. Why? Do you want to know how thin this hull is, guys? It is paper freaking thin on the top end and on the bottom sponsons. Thickness of your main runner, let me zoom out a bit, okay? Your main runner here where your motor mount is and all this stuff mounts, that's really thick. Your sidewalls are actually, surprisingly enough, fairly thick. Your top deck and your bottom sponsons, okay, let's put this over, okay, right in here, all this is paper freaking thin, just like the top of the deck. So very, very fragile, okay, bottom line. So, engineering problem? I'm thinking, yeah. They should have at least kept the thickness consistent through the entire boat. I mean, you're not going to really add that much extra weight by making the entire boat the same thickness. I mean, what, you think they make a fiberglass boat super, super thin on the top deck and the sponsons and everything else thick? No, they make it very consistent. You know, it's built, right? And fiberglass and resin is very, very strong to boot, but at least if you break it, you can fix it. Now, I could understand if I would have hit something with the boat and did damage that way. Sure, it's my bad. I got no right whatsoever to demand a warranty replacement hull, okay? In this case, though, I carefully picked up my boat, okay, out of the water, here and back here, picked it up, bring it over to the beach so I could change the battery and go for another run. I pick it up and I hear snap, and I'm like, what was that? And my wife's like, what happened? I don't know, something cracked. So I'm checking over the whole boat and I'm looking, and that's when I finally noticed this little, it was actually a little line at the time, and I'm like, what the, ooh, that's bad, you know? Now, this is really upsetting because I spent $300 with tax on this boat. Now, I paid $249 in tax, so you're talking 3 bills, right? Regular price is $269. It was on sale a couple weeks previous for $199. Now, I review a lot of their products. I fix a lot of their stuff too. And I've never had any problems. Like I said, up until now, I've got this major issue with my Challenger, which is a very, very expensive boat. And which they, by the way, still consider this to be a toy. Okay? Well, when you start putting hobby grade parts in it, the word toy starts to go away. Okay, separate receiver, separate 50 amp ESC, brushless motor, outrunner. Okay, this is not toy parts. This is hobby grade parts, okay? Now, I've looked up hobby grade boats, and yes, there are ABS hulls in hobby grade, okay, that are really nice fast boats, okay, and of course you got fiberglass level, okay, so you got, like, you know, cheaper end to the expensive end, and that's hobby grade, okay. Now, there's also, I have a couple more pet peeves, by the way, that I found out about things you guys should know about this boat. Other than the fact it might crack and they don't want to honor a warranty on it, which is really disturbing. So, and I may not deal with them again after I replace my hull. I've already warned them ahead of time, like, hey, you've really ticked me off bad, okay? So, this is enough. Anyway, they claim on their own video, waterproof canopy. Well, it's made out of plastic. I guess plastic is waterproof. But you got to really look into it. What does waterproof mean when it comes to something? It means that I should be able to pop this thing on here like this, lock down the key, and there won't be any water whatsoever that can get in there if it's waterproof. Boy, can a lot of water ever get in there without taping it shut. And even when you do tape it shut, you're still going to get water coming in because it's going to get in through your hatch lockdown key, okay? One way or another, the water is going to make its way in there. If you have a faulty water line, water is definitely going to just spray inside regardless. I actually went through that. Your receiver, they say right on the receiver, the receiver is actually waterproof. That is false, and very misleading, because it is not waterproof whatsoever. Okay, in fact, Joy's Way also makes the same boat, of course by Joy's Way, the exact same receiver in that boat too, same engine. Now, their receiver also says waterproof on it, which is also, as far as I'm concerned, that's fraud. It's not waterproof. If it was waterproof, then you explain to me, and the company should explain to me then, why is it I've had to take my receiver apart 4 times to empty a crap load of water out of it, blow dry it, you know, like I just blow it off with my breath, okay? If you use a compressor, by the way, no more than 20 psi or you'll damage stuff. And then I have to let it sit on the shelf for about 2 or 3 days to air dry before I can get it to reconnect to my remote again, but then it does, and I'm fine for a few runs. And then, of course, I take it apart and do it again. Now, I've had to do this now 4 times. So, waterproof receiver, not a chance in heck. ESC, yeah, it's waterproof. Motor doesn't seem to be getting any water out of it at all, so I'm not even worried about it. But as far as the servo goes, hard to tell, but, you know, so far it hasn't been swamped with water inside, so I haven't had to take it apart because it's not malfunctioning. But definitely the receiver has been malfunctioning every time it gets full of water, right? And so their idea of waterproof is BS. There's a gasket underneath the cover that, you know, helps to try and keep water out. And they got the rubber boot here. And, you know, I've actually taken an extra step and taken their zip tie off, wrapped tape around the wires and the boot, and then zip tied it back on shut as tight as I can without hurting anything. I'm still getting water in there whenever water does seem to get into the boat. So, that's the extras to know about. But bottom line, guys, up until now I've been extremely happy with this company, but this is really the straw that broke the camel's back, and it might just be the end of my dealings with their products, you know, because this is just ludicrous. I mean, the last good deed they did for me was with my LiteHawk charger, because, and I want you guys to hear this story, because this is actually a really cool one. My charger is a really cool boat. I've got 2 of them. I recently picked one up for the wife after the Quattro failed me 3 times in a row. That's another story. But anyway, they had a charger left, so I bought that for the wife, and it's actually perfect. It's been running flawless. So mine, on the other hand, I bought a spare motor for it not long after I got it, just in case. It's a brushed motor in that boat. And so anyway, I finally decided to change the motor out just because mine seemed to not perform that well anymore. You know, it was still running though. So the new motor, I throw it in, solder it on, boom! It blows my ESC. Called LiteHawk. They sent me a new ESC with a motor already attached. Everything was pre-tested, blah, blah, blah. You know, because the guy even asked me when I called, you know, about it to complain. You know, he's like, well, what'd you buy a motor for anyway? It's a brushed motor. They wear out. You know, they get weak. Well, can you see the brushes? I'm thinking to myself, you know what? The brushes aren't the issue. It's the coil windings that's the issue. They're burning up. Anyway, so whatever. They send it. I put it in. We're all good to go. Everything's working fine for a while. And then poof, there goes the motor. So in goes my original motor again. And then the servo decided to go nutty on me. So it was a good thing I kept the servo from my original. And then I had to actually cut into the harness in order to put that in, because the plug is actually in behind the heat shrink tubing and silicone they use to seal the ESC to make it waterproof in that one, because it's an ESC reservo combo. Anyway, so I've got my original servo in the boat again, and I'm now on to another motor that I shouldn't have had to fight for to get, because this last motor that we went through, because I bought another motor, because the other one that on their ESC blew, my original finally blew. So of course I paid for another motor that lasted in the water for all of 12 seconds. Now, I tested it on the bench here before I took it to the lake to make sure after I hooked it up everything was cool, and it seemed to be fine. It's like ring, 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 ring. Okay, good, let's go off to the beach. Throw it in the water 12 seconds later in front of about half a dozen people, not including myself and my wife. The boat all of a sudden dies just when they said, "That's a cool boat," because we got a different paint job. It's not black anymore, it's multicolor. And so, I mean, hey, I'm showing off their products, because all these people are like, "Where do you get those boats? Where do you get those boats?" And this is what I get asked every bloody time I go down to the beach, right? Because what am I taking mostly for boats? I'm taking 3 LiteHawk boats with me, and one of my double horses that I actually sell, because I don't sell brand new LiteHawk. Anyway, so it's good promotion for them. It's good for me, because I get custom paint jobs and off-warranty repair work too. Anyhow, so 12 seconds, I was flipped. So I called them up and complained, and I wasn't getting anywhere with the one technician, and blah, 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 and it was fine. So I called back and talked to somebody different, said, "Look, I don't want to talk to that technician again. Let me talk to somebody else. This is what's going on." And I was pretty sure I mentioned my Challenger. You know, in fact, I know I mentioned it, but maybe she didn't hear me, and there was a misunderstanding there. And when she called back to tell me what she was sending me, I thought maybe, hey, they're going to replace my Challenger hull, right, because of the fracture, because he didn't want to replace it. He wanted me to pay for it. And so anyhow, I get my parcel in the mail. I got a replacement motor, awesome, and they actually gave me another charger, right? So just the boat itself, no remote or battery, just the boat with the guts in it, you know, so motor, ESC, servo, whatnot. I thought, hey, it was a cool bonus. I'm not going to complain about that. But I did call in curiosity as to why they sent it, but whatever. So I talked to her again and said, "Look, this is what's going on with my Challenger. Please talk to somebody other than this individual." And because, look, the crack is not my fault, okay? I'm not a kid. I'm not, you know, abusive to a $300 friggin' boat, you know? I picked it up out of the water. My wife saw me, you know, and I picked it up and crack. That's all we heard, you know? And so anyway, bottom line, they called me back again today, said, "Look, we're not doing anything for you. We can't. The only thing we can do is the offer that was put on the table to begin with. We'll give you another hull for 45 bucks. And I'm like, if I do, that's fine. I'll do it. But then I think I'm pretty much done with your company at this point, because you know what? This just doesn't work for me. You know, you can't expect people to even, you know, give you such great points when you don't even want to help them out. You know, when it comes to something that's obviously it's got to be a defect of some sort. And in fact, to me, it's also an engineering error. You know, I didn't say that to her, but, you know, I'll say it now. To me, it's an engineering error, because the bottom of your hull is really thick here. The sidewalls are fairly thick. But when it comes to the top surface and your bottom sponsons, they are so paper thin, it's ridiculous. I mean, it's just stupid, right? And, I mean, if I was the engineer behind designing something like this, you know, especially an ABS, blow-molded plastic stuff, I would definitely be making sure the thickness was consistent all the way through. Because for the thickness that they have the main centerpiece in, your keel, that is very adequate for the entire boat to be that thick and still not really have a major weight issue of any kind. You know, it would actually be better. I mean, they built the Charger pretty much that way. It's very thick plastic all the way around, you know, and it's not going to get hurt very easily at all. You know, where this thing, if you hit a log in the water or you smack a rock by accident, your sponsons are going to go poof and explode. You know, flipping the boat in the water is not a big deal. It's not going to hurt anything, as long as you don't hit anything that's under the water. Of course, I know the beach where I'm at, And when I play with these things, and I know what's in the water and the range I'm playing at, etc., I know there's not a chance in hell anything's going to hit this boat. You know, so I'm very careful about that. And so anyhow, bottom line, they don't want to do a damn thing about it. I thought I'd let you guys know, because if you do develop any kind of cracks in the plastic, don't call and complain to them about it, even if your boat is still under warranty, because all they're going to say is buy another hull. Okay? So that's where it ends. And so I'm not sure exactly what I'm doing yet, because I've been looking at fiberglass hulls, same size, you know, type of thing. And for a few bucks more, I can definitely end up with a nice fiberglass hull. Sure, it's a different boat, but hey, I can throw all my guts right into it, so I don't have to buy anything new, you know, other than just the hull, you know. And it might be worth just going to the fiberglass hull and reusing all this stuff, because I'm very, very disappointed in the end. I mean, at first when I got this boat, guys, I loved it. I thought it was a great boat, you know. And honestly, I had a few runs on it at the time when I did the review, and I thought it was a great boat. But now that this has happened after, you know, I've only had this thing maybe about 12, 15 runs, I think, somewhere around there. Not a whole ton, you know. And you can't play for very long with a stock battery. You only get about 5 or 6 minutes, and you're back on the charger for an hour and a half to 2 hours, you know. So it doesn't get a lot of running each time either. So there's very little usage on this boat. And for being able to pick up the boat like I did, you know, just like this, and then, you know, that crack like that for no reason, I'm like, oh, you know. And just when I solved pretty much all my leaky issues too, you know, it had to snap, right? But Crazy Glue for now is holding it, and I'll put the tape back on it, and till I can figure out something else, and I'll just go from there with it, I guess. But I wanted to share that with you guys, and the little bit of extras on this, you know, crap about being waterproof stuff that's not. You discover things as you go, you know. So anyway, thanks for watching. See you on the next video, and happy boating, flying, or whatever you happen to be doing.